Hello, Dr. Trader is back. This week, we're taking a closer look at XAUUSD. Gold just snapped a 4-month losing streak. That sounds like good news, but as of this Monday morning, price is trading right below the weekly VWAP. The directional label is bullish, but the action status is skip. The setup does not meet the threshold for a trade. The real question isn't whether gold can rise. It's whether this bounce has enough underneath it to go further. Here's the context for this week. The system classifies the current regime as ranging with 70% confidence. Two forces are pulling against each other. US-Iran negotiations remain an important geopolitical variable. Clear progress could reduce gold's safe haven premium, while a breakdown in talks could revive defensive demand. At the same time, renewed US dollar strength is adding pressure to gold. More importantly, almost all of the current bullish momentum is coming from price action alone. Institutional positioning data, liquidity, and market sentiment are all silent this week. Technically, the two levels that matter most on the weekly chart are the weekly VWAP at 4,120.87 and the weekly TrendSL at 4,423.20. Price is currently below the weekly VWAP by about 6 points, and it's testing that level from underneath. This is a fair value zone, not a breakout zone. Further above, the weekly TrendSL acts as the structural confirmation level. Price is currently more than 300 points below it. The bullish scenario is favored if price closes a weekly candle above the weekly TrendSL at 4,423.20. That would be the first time the technical structure actually agrees with the bullish label the system is currently assigning. To be clear, the source data does not provide a quantitative target beyond that level, so we can't say how far gold could run if this scenario plays out. On the other side, if Friday's US jobs data comes in stronger than expected and the dollar keeps climbing, gold could push further below the current weekly VWAP zone. But here's the more important point. Price is already below both the weekly VWAP and the weekly TrendSL right now at the time of this analysis. That's a current fact, not a future condition. Anyone tracking the bullish scenario should reassess risk exposure and wait for additional confirmation. Bottom line, the directional label is bullish, but the action status is skip. The setup does not meet the threshold for a trade. The entire bullish case right now is being carried by price action alone, while the technical structure, specifically where price sits relative to the weekly VWAP and TrendSL, still contradicts that label. This is a thin thesis that needs more confirmation, not a call to action. The directional label is bullish, but the action status is skip. The setup does not meet the threshold for a trade and should not be treated as an entry signal. This content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Trading involves risk. Always conduct your own research and use appropriate risk management. If you found this breakdown useful, follow the channel for next week's analysis.